Alrighty, hello every folks, and good morning. Welcome to a quick little breakdown here of the Battle of Ishtana. We'll see if this is a win, because this party wasn't exactly set up prepared for this, and realistically, once we're out of the demo, I would expect that this whole situation will simply become a matter of avoid this fight and come back and deal with them later. But interestingly enough, there is a fight heading kind of north towards the upper cities there that you will run into these guys. It's a very, very small map. In fact, they're just a few seconds away from your starting command post. And additionally, your overall space to work with is extremely tight. Now, there's several fights kind of sort of like this, where you'll go through tiny little zones, you'll go forward, you'll just kind of steamroll them, and you'll move on to the next one. However, you might have mentioned, or might have heard some folks mention that there is one in particular that happens to be a bit of a brick wall, and that's these guys over here, because this is bizarrely one of the most trolly fights in the demo as of right now. In fact, I would argue it's probably the most difficult. So, anyways, let's go ahead and break down why. So, at first, obviously they've got range support. This is easy enough to deal with, manlets and all. We're just going to run over that, no problem. However, the second this is more of a nuisance, but we've got the Radiant Knights over here with their defensive buff. Now, this is, again, a bit of a minor nuisance, but nothing too serious. They're going to boost defense by 20% temporarily, and then they're never going to do it again. So this is fine. Then they also have healing support, which is annoying, but again, we can deal with that. It's only two clerics. They're basically defenseless if you happen to get anyone over there. So what's the problem? The problem is everything else. So look over all of these different units here, and you'll notice that they're a little bit special. Because the entire party has Lapis Pendants, which basically means that they can quick curse absolutely every single attack that you throw their way. So physical attacks will do basically nothing. Their magic defense is through the roof, and additionally, if you want to just try and carve through them by other means, their gigantic min-maxed meat walls over here are basically 200 health worth of you're not getting through that. So once you manage to find a way past the linebackers, you still probably can't do any damage to these guys just because of how many curses they get. They've got incredibly high initiative, and on top of that, we'll have offensive curses for putting down essentially putting down magical and physical attacks. They will more than likely be able to outspeed everybody in your party to get this out there. They will have passive curses for deleting your blue points and giving you negative 10 initiative for even less speed, and additionally we'll have quick curse, which will automatically activate on whatever attack you do. Because if you're thinking, oh wow, I'm gonna go ahead and stack a whole bunch of my orders there in order to go ahead and just kind of charge through here. We're gonna have first strike, we're just gonna go and cleave these guys in half. Their quick curses trigger before that. So, yes, even first strike isn't enough to actually alpha strike these guys. It's something else. Because, yeah, they can, again, debuff your entire party before that happens. And one thing they might have not considered is why would they have blue, or those Lapis Pendants on Gladiators? This gives them 80% health restore every turn. So, their bulk up will essentially trigger once about halfway through the fight to give them 40% of their health back, and at the end of the fight, they will get another 40% health back. They are very difficult to actually cut through. Again, even with if you're managing to attack past their quick curses, you are still going to have a bad time. So I've figured out a few tricks here to maybe help. We'll see if this actually ends up succeeding. There's a non-zero chance it won't. Basically, these guys are just straight up difficult. There's no way around that. Now, the first thing is to go and deploy a cavalry squad in particular. To go attack these guys. You want to try and get them at the very range of your deploy range, and you want to be able to get them out before these guys get close. So we're going to go ahead and let them go ahead and attack. They're going to go ahead and take these guys out. And then we're actually going to go ahead and hide our cavalry squad. So the reason that we're doing this is because we want to completely get these guys to waste their debuff and or not have it at all. They're a bit of a problem because they're very defensive, and additionally they're going to be a bit of a problem in terms of throwing out their defensive buff. So we want to ambush them and get rid of them as soon as physically possible. So we're going to let them just about touch the command post. The one time that I've done this that it has succeeded so far, I deployed a magic mine right before this to destroy some of their health ahead of time, which made this process a little bit less stamina intensive, but we're going to try not to use those this time, and I'm going to make a separate video on those items. So we're going to go ahead and manage to do some damage, which will be enough to count technically as a victory and get one of them halfway across by ambushing them like this. So this way they won't have time to activate their guard call. At which point we can go ahead and just march on forward. We're going to steamroll these mercenaries. Because I forget if I mentioned the mercenaries. These guys just fart out mercenaries at a rate that's absolutely unreal. That's the first squad dead, the second squad's already basically ready to go. This fight has been going about 4 seconds. Every few seconds, they will just shoot out a new squad of mercenaries. It is ridiculous. I have no idea why they are so just like hyper aggressive with that, but yeah. Anyway, that's a thing. So we're going to use one empowering here. I'm kind of considering the empowerings as kind of something you will generally have on hand. So we're going to use that to wipe the squad before they have a chance to throw out their defensive buff. I know it seems like I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this buff, but one thing to mention is that they will they'll be very good at kind of stretching you out here. This fight only lasts a few seconds, and you are very tight on both time and resources here. So we're going to throw a bunch of layers of barricades in the way in order to prevent them from getting through for the time being, and we're going to make a quick little segue over here to go take out their tower. So we're going to go deal with this right now. Again, leave it on cavalry so that they can get that job done. However, this will not be the squad that ends up engaging, because the cavalry, as good as they are, will basically do nothing to that squad. So we're going to go ahead and move them into this tower. I let them move a little bit too long. I almost lost out on that stamina. Again, in the time that it took for them to run over there, they have 2 more squads ready to go. But we specifically need 1 more point in order to have 3 points available. While I have tried this with support squads and everything else, as you can see, even with this absolutely ace squad with a lot of the better equipment that you can pick up over the course of this demo, they do next to nothing versus these guys. So if we were to send them in, it would just be a complete waste of time. In fact, most of the time, if you're thinking like you're going to carve them through with plink damage, look at our time. There's almost no time that you get over the course of this map. And in fact, arguably the best way to actually handle it is, well, probably cheesing corn ashes, which I'm going to try not to do. We're going to try to use that Valorous Order, but for the moment, we're going to withdraw, and we're going to go ahead and reform that squad. So, as good as that cavalry is, they're not enough to get through at the moment. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to move a thief up front. So this guy is really good. Housecarls are just generally really good for having a lot of attacks. We have 1 extra point over on Mr. Old Man over here in order to give him 1 more pursuit. So basically pursuits plus this guy's multiple attacks would allow for getting a few extra attacks off. But we're going to want a thief in here. And the thieves are really good at carving through their extra defenses. So specifically their healing and such will be really handy for that kind of stuff. So we'll be over here stealing 1 of their PPs, essentially stealing 1 of their recoveries, and potentially stealing 1 of their other things. Travis and other thieves are some of the only units that are actually successfully able to outspeed these guys. And in fact, what I'm doing is I'm giving the initiative bonus over here, the Dove Plume, over to Aubin as well as Travis. Travis doesn't really need to worry about the fact that his attacks are getting somewhat negated, and Aubin will generally still do fine regardless, so either way, most of our actual offensive potential is still intact. So we're going to go ahead and deploy them here. And additionally, we're going to have just enough points to be able to do that call. Additionally, I will go ahead and use that stake on them as soon as they're out of energy here. And just for safety, we're going to throw out 1 more barricade. I doubt they can break through all of this, but either way, it's good. It's better to have it there than not. Also, we will be showing this. I always say we, it's just me here. I'll be showing this later on the field items video and stuff like that, or just field effects video. But you can actually use those barricades to launch units into those manlets over there if you want to get a little bit of extra benefit there. So if you ever want to specifically fight in a particular location, you can use those to bounce units around, and it's very handy. Anyways, let's go ahead and have ourselves a stake, and additionally, we're actually going to throw out a mine because the mines have a limited AoE. I want to see if this will actually work to damage them over there. So we're going to go ahead and throw one relatively close-ish. There we go. Throw out a magic mine there, and I'm also curious to see how much a magic bomb does. I just picked up one of these at the at the black market shop. Never actually tried it yet, so let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Are you actually effective? Or oh, wow, that's very good, actually. Okay, I thought that would do, like, 1, like everything else. Anyway, okay, well, that's something. So we'll just go ahead and charge in here. So we're just going to go ahead and show how the fight works normally. We're going to get our empowering, we're going to get our defensive, and the hope is that we'll be able to actually properly sweep this. Oh, 161 with no harm done. Interesting. I actually was expecting that to go worse, so I guess that bomb actually managed to clear out some of their back row or something. Yeah, let's see how that fight ends up looking. So what is it that's going on here? Is it just because of Travis? Because Travis is about the closest, well, Travis and any other thief are about the closest to a hard counter that you're going to get. We don't really have to worry about their offense that much because these guys are simply here to stall out the clock. Okay, so they went ahead and they threw some passives out there. We wasted some of our stuff there. They're going to quick curse on that pursuit, which is just, man, the level of bullshit on this team. It's really something else. Okay, we're going to get our magic attack there. That's going to get past nothing, apparently, because both of his stats were debuffed. Interestingly, he's particularly affected by that particular thing. Also, one more thing I should probably mention. With the first strike bonus, I would actually recommend saving that for second round. If you can get damage through, the problem with doing the first strike thing is usually you'll get one attack off, right? You'll get one round of attacks off, and then you're stuck in a weird situation where... okay, time. There we go. You're stuck in this weird situation where your first attack got through, but your second one has no shot in hell of making it. Suddenly they're healing instead of anything else. On top of everything else, due to how quickly they're saying their recovery is going, yeah, their healing happens pretty quick, which gets everybody back on track. In this case, yeah, the order to break through on the second time allows us to avoid some of their debuffs, and we'll have just enough stuff to get us through. Also, the sheer amount of kind of rebuilding of this team and whatever else that it took to get past this particular fight actually inspired me to change the team's emblem a little bit. So you may have noticed the Raven's Nest logo on what's his face, Elaine's shield. So yeah, you could actually make the Raven's Nest logo from Armored Core, which is just a cool little thing. I think that's my new favorite emblem now. I'm actually having a ton of fun coming up with different emblem designs and whatnot. So, either way, it's just good stuff. Yeah, go figure, this actually worked. So, okay, the trick here, I don't think the bomb actually helped us out very much. It did break down some of those extra squads, but 15 damage on these guys is basically nothing. So, the trick in this particular case was to have Travis with those extra points, to have Aubin with those extra points, having them soaking up all of the curses, which then allowed Joseph to go get his attacks through. So that seems to be what happened here. Again, Aubin just kind of carrying every win forever. The dude is just the best. But yeah, there we go. So it is now claimed, apparently in the name of 9-Ball. Yeah, I feel like this fight is this game's hidden 9-Ball, as it were. Or at least this demo's hidden 9-Ball. Anyway. Yeah, it's weirdly difficult to get through with most squads. So thieves, again, are about the closest thing to a counter that happens there. Your real enemy is the clock. You saw how close we were to the end of the clock there. This is probably going to be the end of the demo, or I guess not. How much time do we have left on said clock? You get a cutting board for doing that. Somehow that just feels appropriate. Is that the end of the demo? Can't thank you enough for what? For liberating a fort? Okay, so what do you get at this fort? No, I want to see what happens at that fort! How could you do this? Unicorn, why? Anyway, so that's about that. So that's the issue with that fight, and if you potentially skipped it, that's why people will typically skip it. Honestly, I would recommend skipping it. It is weirdly difficult to get through that one squad. It is very trolly. I think if you completely min-max everything, you can have 4 Lapis pendants. There's at least 2 once you fix the city. There's at least you get 1 from the Osh fight, 1 that you could find somewhere else with Osh, I think. I think he actually finds one from the ruins, if I'm not mistaken, as well as 1 that you get from the church. Potentially also, there's the plume that you can buy at the church, which actually, I might as well just show these things. Would you like to save your progress? No. Proceed to the shop? No. Man. Need to... Hang on, is it going to continue from the end, or where's it going to continue from? Okay, it's going to continue from this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over this real quick. So, a lot of the tricks that you can find are going to typically come from stuff like the black market dealer, which actually I guess that's another one of those red and blue necklaces. So black market guy, once you've cleared out enough of the map, he will have a few more of those necklaces to give you. This guy will only trade with you at night, so that's a thing. Anyway. So if we go in here, if you wanted to, for example, have additional dodge on somebody, you got this here. I already covered this in the previous video, but they do have these two pendants over here that'll help out with this. This magic bomb seems like it would be really good for emergency situations and speedrunning certain maps, so I'd expect this to be a speedrun thing down the road. Obviously, you got your customization item over here. There's two church shops that I'm aware... Actually, there might be a third one, because I think I saw a church shop on one of the islands somewhere. Hippocampus? What's a hippocampus? Why do I not remember? Anyway, that feels like a medical term that I'm not remembering. Anyway. So we zoom in a little over here. Oh, one little side note. If you're missing any recruits for this, I only realized recently that you could go see the inventory of every single shop and all that. By going through these locations. It's kind of a neat little thing. Anyway, dude, I love how there was immediately a comment on the speedrun video of like, oh, it's useless to learn how to speedrun this demo because you can't do the entire game in the demo. Like, okay. Interesting hot take, but you do you. Anyway, so yeah, you got two more pendants over here, not just one. But specifically, the one that I was looking at, there's a few other things that may help you. If you've been using clerics up to this point, if you have one that's at least 10, the cleric cane would be one way to potentially deal with a lot of those debuffs, since they can clear them out. So a combination of the cleric's cane, as well as, if you have it, the angel plume for an additional 20 initiative. Will give you everything that you need. Tailwind, let's see, grants a row of allies plus 10 initiative. Basically, Tailwind is going to make your entire party act first, so that's, I mean, give or take. There's a lot of really good items over here. I'm not even sure you can get a lot of these. Like, this one is 6 more. I'm pretty sure that there's definitely 6 more that I missed somewhere, just due to the fact that she hasn't even joined the team yet. She'll join at, like, it was either 31 or 36. If you do want to do the hollowed cornash approach, technically one way that you can handle it is to spend 2 cornash to get a second initiative run there, or rather to get a second first strike run. You're still attacking with negative 20%, but it will be enough to at least hopefully carve through the second time with enough damage to actually make it stick. It's just making it stick against that squad that's a bit of a problem. If you've got a bunch of really solid thieves, or, you know, at least 1 or 2 good ones, you should be able to carve through like I did there, but again, it's somewhat chance dependent. So yeah, that's the weird complication of the battle for Ishtana. Probably one of the stranger fights in the demo. Again, to me, it just feels like the spiritual return of the Death Chicken from Ogre Battle 64. I'm assuming some of y'all new kids haven't played through OB64, so the general idea of that is just that there was, actually come to think of it, it's even similar looking. So, okay, there was a map in Ogre Battle 64. It's not letting me zoom in any further than this. But here, let's go ahead and take the stuff off the list here if I can. Can I just get a clear map? There we go. So, there was a map that actually looked really similar to this, and if you cross the river into a little patch of trees, which granted would have been more along where this mountain is, but if you cross that river, imagine if this is your home base, right? And you've got a big old fight through a bunch of units over here, and you've got a base that you're supposed to capture right here. And then you just got a simple, seemingly unpatrolled path over this way. Why is nobody going that way? It seems like a very convenient path. A squad of chickens will fly out of the woods and start petrifying and permanently killing basically every squad you send that direction with no mercy. To me, it feels like the spiritual return of that. Is it probably? Yeah, probably not. But, I like to think that it is. There's a lot of other very specific deep cuts for Ogre Battle 64 in this game, so I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't, Anyway, so I hope this helps. Y'all have yourselves a good one, and take care.